The first episode of Phyllis that I directed was the second episode ever for me. It was the one that I did after the initial Rhoda, and it was one of the biggest episodes that they had produced up to that point. It was Mother Dexter's wedding, a big story, an important story, touching, lovely about Mother Dexter getting married, both octogenarians getting married, whatever. And there were lots and lots of people in it. And it was scary to me. And I remember Jay Sandrich was working next door on the Mary Tyler Moore show. And he was always, again, I got to meet him through Jimmy, and I sat in on the show a few times, observed him, and I took the liberty of just asking him if he would just come to the set during a lunch hour or whatever and just talk to me for a few minutes. And he was very, very kind and generous, and I mean willing without question. Of course, he came, and we still talk about that. He's become a very dear friend, and he doesn't remember that moment. To me, it is seared in my consciousness. I tell him, you're better than you think you are. You're a really good man. So he came to the set, and we talked. I told him that there are crowds, and I mean, I know how to manipulate crowds on the stage and so forth, but what do I do with cameras? And he gave me some pointers and whatever. When we did the show, again, it was, once we started rehearsing, it was fine. Everything went well, and it turned out to be a very good show. Ed Weinberger was the producer, and he was a very, very exacting taskmaster. He was tough. He was tough during shooting night, and he was tough before, and he was tough afterwards. And I remember that show went well, but afterwards, before the other episodes came up, he called me into his office, and he gave me some pointers that sometimes during filming you do this, you do that, whatever, and I took it as part of my education. I said, okay, I will try my better and do better next time. But Mother Dexter's wedding, I have a photograph of that, of a plate of it that I have in my office. So it's a dear memory for me.
Talk a little bit about working with Cloris Leachman.
Cloris Leachman is such a dear heart. She's a life force, and she was a life force then. Somehow, again, we got along very well. This has been my gift, the gift that I kind of relish, that these relationships have maintained. We worked very well together. She was always bringing ideas and loved the fact that I could bring in my own, and we somehow it gelled. But I had to be on my toes with her. And interestingly enough, years later, on a 2.5 Men episode that I was directing, Chuck told me, well, guess who's going to be your guest star? And it was Cloris Leachman. And I said, I wonder if she remembers this little man who did that show. And she came at the table reading, and I looked at her. She said, Egyptian, Asaad, whatever. And it was wonderful. So it, again, another happy memory. But with her, she was demanding in her own way, in that she was unpredictable. I had to be alert all the time, very disciplined, and obviously her talent is undeniable. But she's larger than life. But for me, as a young director starting out, I had to find a way to allow. I mean, to accept all of that going on without being intimidated to the point where I would shrink. And the only place I went to was, do I know what I am doing? Do I know what I want? Do I know what this script is about? That always was the place that I found my greatest security, because the personal dynamics, if I just counted on that to win the day, they're too big for me. They were too big for me at the time. So the only thing that I could hold on to, this was concrete for me, is did I do my work? Did I do my homework? Do I know what I am thinking? And when in doubt, I went to that. And I think that is why, if there was a measure of trust or confidence that developed between me and these very large personalities, it was because I mean, they are such smart, they're all brilliant people, and I think they detected that it wasn't fakery, it wasn't posturing. I was there to just do the best job. So that was a good thing that I learned early on.